I sat there, my mouth hanging open in shock. Why, you ask? Because my wife, Jane, had just asked me if I could be a cuckold for a week. My name is Mike, by the way, and I already knew my answer. I just never thought Jane would actually have the nerve to ask. I wanted to respond calmly, but first, I needed to catch my breath. You see, I've always been a man of strong principles. I know exactly who I am, and I take pride in that. It all started about a week ago at a barbecue at my sister Barbara's house. 15 couples were there, and the wine and beer were flowing freely. Good food, great company, and an overall fantastic time. Then, out of nowhere, someone suggested, let's play Truth or Dare. Barbara, our host, kicked off the game by daring her husband, Tim, to massage Karen's feet. Karen's husband, Jeff, just laughed and told Tim to wash his hands afterward, joking that Karen's feet were rough and sore. As Tim rubbed Karen's feet, Barbara casually asked Karen how her cuckolding lifestyle was going. Several husbands, including me, reacted as if someone had just spit in our drinks. I barely had time to process that before Jeff chimed in, completely unfazed. Karen already has 3 lovers, and she's looking for more. As a man, my first instinct was to slap Jeff upside the head and ask him what the hell was wrong with him. But I was a guest, and well, my wife's presence alone could melt ice in Alaska, so I kept my mouth shut and grabbed another beer. Where the hell was Captain Morgan when I needed him most? Listening to this conversation was torture, but I sat there like a dutiful husband, biting my tongue. After about 10 minutes, I excused myself and headed to the bathroom, where I locked myself inside for 20 minutes, talking to myself in a whisper. I had to be quiet. If I started ranting, people would think I'd lost my mind. When I finally calmed down, I opened the door, only to find Barbara standing there, arms crossed, looking at me like I had just ruined her party. "What's the matter, sis?" I asked. "How the hell can you be so mean?" she snapped. "Mean? What the hell are you talking about? I didn't say or do anything. I promised Jane I'd behave, and I did." Barbara rolled her eyes and went on to explain how Jeff was proving his love for Karen by allowing her to explore other relationships. She insisted that once Karen was done, their bond as a couple would be even stronger. I had to ask, how does sleeping with other men make a couple stronger? Barbara sighed, clearly annoyed by my skepticism. "Mike, you need to open your mind to new things." I smirked. Has Tim opened his mind to Karen and Jeff's idea of marriage yet? Barbara hesitated before admitting, "I haven't asked him yet. I wanted Jeff to break the ice first. For the first time in my life, I wanted to slap my sister. You've lost your damn mind. If you ask Tim and he agrees, I'll babysit your kids while you go manhunting. Hell, I'll even wash your car. But I will never leave you alone with my wife again." With that, I turned and walked back to the barbecue. I found Jeff deep in conversation with Karen, Jane, and a few other wives. Meanwhile, the guys were gathered around the grill, waiting for me to return. Tim was the first to ask, "So, Mike, what do you think about all this?" I didn't hesitate. "Tim, if Jane ever tries that, I'm out the door. I won't tolerate betrayal. If I ever find out she's cheated, is cheating, or is even considering it, I'll divorce her. I don't care what Jeff thinks, his life, his choices. But it's not for me." After my little speech, Jane came over and announced it was time to leave. We said our goodbyes and headed home, a 45-minute drive ahead of us. As soon as we pulled onto the road, Jane said, "You shouldn't judge a lifestyle until you've tried it." I clenched the steering wheel, debating whether to start an argument or stay quiet. I chose silence. The entire drive home, Jane kept bringing up Jeff. Jeff this, Jeff that. I wanted to tell her, if you love talking about him so much, why not marry him? But I held my tongue. When we finally got home, Jane started rubbing my leg. Oh yeah, this was going to be an interesting night. And let's just say, it was. For the next 7 days, Jane and I were more intimate than ever, at least twice a day. Then on the seventh day, she finally dropped the bomb. Mike, can I talk to you about something without you getting mad? I exhaled deeply and replied, Honey, after the week you just gave me, we could talk about anything, and I'd genuinely listen. Jane seemed a little uneasy, but eventually started with her usual preamble. Mike, you know I love you, right? I love you more with each passing day, but I think we need to explore new things in our intimacy. At that moment, my internal warning system kicked in. Mike, don't interrupt until I'm finished, Jane said, cutting me off before I could react. You always shut me down before I get a chance to explain. I sighed. All right, honey, I'll let you finish and then I'll still say no. Jane went on, trying to convince me that if I truly loved her, I'd agree to be a cuckold for a week. She looked at me with big, pleading eyes, lips trembling, her expression that of a sad little girl. It nearly broke my heart. No, I said firmly. Jane, I love you more than anything. I want to make you happy, to grow old with you, to have a family together, but my answer is still no. Her face twisted in frustration. You bastard. If you ever ask me something like that again, I swear I'll burn the house down and move to Canada. If you want a cuckold, go buy a pet bird, I added before standing up and walking out. I made my way to Angel's, my favorite sports bar. Kevin, the bartender, was a master at making a mean Long Island iced tea. Kevin, my man, start me a tab. I want a beer, a Long Island, and make sure they keep coming. As I nursed my drinks, lost in thought, who else but Jeff and Tim walked in. They sat on either side of me, both eyeing me like I had just committed a crime. Mike, Jeff said, what the hell is wrong with you? You nearly ruined the barbecue. We'd been planning this for weeks. I must have looked confused because Tim just patted me on the back. Just hear us out. Jeff leaned in. Mike, Tim and I recorded Karen with all three of her lovers. I played along, so she wouldn't bleed me dry in the divorce. My lawyer said if I acted like I was fine with it, I'd get all the evidence I needed. You see, in Texas, cheating still matters in court. Karen had no idea I was on to her. She and her boyfriend were even planning to set me up for a threesome to make it seem like I was involved too. No way in hell was I falling for that. Instead, she's getting served papers while she's off with one of her lovers. I had to ask, if she cheated, why are you letting her take everything? Jeff smirked. Oh, she's not getting everything. The house? It's got 2 extra mortgages on it. The car? Leased, and I haven't paid in months. Every bill, unpaid for 7 months. My paycheck goes straight to my mom's offshore account. As far as my job is concerned, I take care of my mother financially. I chuckled. Damn, Jeff, your mom always said Karen was dumb. Guess she was right. The drinks kept flowing, and before I knew it, I had to take a cab home. I think I made it back around 3 a.m. Not that it mattered, because I only got as far as the flower bed before passing out. Jane heard the commotion and came outside, finding me sprawled out in her beloved roses. About 30 minutes later, I groggily woke to a bucket of cold water dumped on me, followed by our dog enthusiastically licking my face. You evil woman, I groaned, blinking water from my eyes. That was my favorite chair. Who shoved a stick up your? Jane cut me off. Mike, did you know? I sat up. Know what? Karen got served with divorce papers and an eviction notice last night. I shrugged. Good for her. Now she can sleep with whoever she wants. Jane's eyes narrowed. So you did know? Hell no. I didn't know until I ran into Jeff and Tim last night. Jane just stared at me. I recognized that look immediately. Mike, she needs somewhere to stay for a week, Jane said, her voice softer now. Please. She's lost everything. I muttered under my breath. What she needs is a doctor to stitch up her ego. But in the end, I caved. Karen moved into the spare room. Before letting her stay, I asked Jeff if he was okay with it. I don't care where she goes, Jeff said. She can sleep in a dumpster for all I care. Karen lasted exactly 1 week. One night, as she and Jane sat on the patio drinking wine, Karen had the audacity to ask if she could sleep with me, just for one night, because she needed intimacy. The next thing I heard was glass shattering and screaming. Then Jane stormed into the house, livid. "Mike, get that idiot out of my house." Her rage was directed at Karen now. "I can't believe I let you stay here. Get your things and get the hell out. I mean now." Later that night, after some rather passionate lovemaking, I realized something interesting. Most women might entertain the idea of being shared with another man, but when it comes to sharing their own men, that's an entirely different story.